Shravan, my slides are visible. I request you to join quickly, please. All other members of the group. So okay, I can see 33 participants now. It is not good that even though I said that all should join 5 minutes before, still they are not joining. But anyway, we will start the part 1 of fundamentals now. Okay, I hope my front slide is visible. Any one of you can just confirm it is visible to you?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, great, great. Okay, so I wish all of you a very good afternoon once again. Now, what Shravant has shared with you was the basis of EIA, how it is started, and what are the laws and policies, what are the notifications which you need to follow while doing EIA is has been shared with you. Now, this whole day we have devoted to the understanding of EIA, and and as a next series, now I will just share some of the fundamentals of EIA from a technical perspective. Okay, so first we will see the theory of EIA. Now, one thing I want you all to understand quite properly is that you should know that why we are using word impact in EIA and not we are using word effect. Okay, ideally, when I'm starting any developmental activity, we may say that there is effect on air, effect on soil or any other component. But why we are specifically using this word impact? Okay, that you need to understand. So always remember that I'll be only able to make I will be only able to make a decision out of my study if it is in numbers, if it is in numbers or in meaningful terms. Okay, if someone just comes to me and say that, sir, because of a fire there is smoke to a particular area and we need to do something to it, so I may not be able to do immediately out of it. But if I know that if I know the source of the smoke, the pollutant level in that smoke, plus number of people exposed to it, out of those people how many males, how many females, out of those males how many are in a certain age group, like that if I know, I'll be able to make a decision out of it very quickly, and then only I'll be able to mitigate it. So first you need to understand why we are using this word impact. So what does the impact is? The quantification, the quantification either in numerical terms or meaningful subjective term of effect is known as impact. Okay, and it is done at every stage or process of a project or developmental activity. So I hope it is crystal clear to you. Effect everyone knows, but this course is scientific. Okay, the process EIA is a scientific process. So the outcome also should be scientific and in such a way that I should be able to make a decision out of it. So the quantification in numerical or meaningful subjective terms of effect is known as impact. So I hope the definition of impact is clear to you. And of course, it is done at every stage or process of a project or developmental activity. We have to do it every step. Then only I will be able to quantify the impact. Now, when we say environment, first we need to understand that in EIA, the context of environment is different. Okay, the context in what context I'm saying in when I'm carrying out a EIA report. If you see in general terms, whatever surrounds us is our environment, right? Whatever surrounds us is our environment. But when I'm doing EIA, I should focus on certain components of environment which I'll be including in my EIA report. So when I talk about environment in the context of EIA, what does it mean? Environment in EIA context mainly focuses, but is not limited to. Okay, first is physical, then chemical, biological, geological, social, economical, and aesthetic dimensions, along with they are complex interactions which affect individuals, communities, and ultimately determine their forms, character, relationship, and survival. Okay, so first is the physical environment, like our land, trees, and all. Then chemical environment, what all chemicals you have released in that. Apart from chemicals, there will be some microbial ecology also present everywhere in soil, trees, even on our bodies also. That is biological. Then beneath that land, after 60 centimeter, there one the geology also comes into the picture. Geology plus people will be living on the land, social plus they will be doing some jobs. And if you are doing some developmental activity, their job may get affected. So economical, right? And overall, how it looks, that is aesthetic. And their interaction and their effect on the individual, like you, your family, then bigger community, and the interaction of this only determine what will be the forms, character and relationship and survival of those communities. So you have to keep in mind that when I say environment in EIA context, it has a whole different meaning, which I have just shared with you. Okay. Now, what is EIA? EIA after knowing what is impact and what is effect and what is environment. So now, what is EIA? When you know the definition of impact and effect, EIA is what? An uh, important procedure for ensuring that the likely impacts, okay, I'm not writing effect, likely impacts of new development on the environment are fully understood, first thing, and taken into account before the development or activity is allowed to go ahead. Okay, first you have understood all the impacts of that proposed developmental activity. You have included it, and now you are going for the developmental activity. Okay, and then the second definition is what? It is a formal process. It is a formal process for identifying likely impacts of activities or different developmental projects on first on the environment, right? First on the environment, they can then second on human health and welfare, and third means and measures to mitigate and monitor this impact. So there will be three parts only. First, I will see what is the impact of environment. If it is impacting environment, it will ultimately lead to human health because we are inhaling air, right? We are taking bath with the water. We are drinking the water, and we are using clothes and other things which are constantly exposed to the environment. So first we have to see what is the impact of environment. Then second, we have to see if that is the case, what will be the impact on the human health and welfare. And lastly, we have to suggest some measures to mitigate and monitor these impacts. Okay, so I hope up to this point it is clear to you. Now, I want you to go slightly deeper into the definition of impact. Okay, definition of impact. You know that impact is what? It is the quantification of effect in numerical or meaningful subjective term is known as impact, right? But now I want you to understand the impact in terms of the EIA or baseline data. So what does the impact means? The impact of an activity is the change from the baseline situation. Okay, it is from the baseline situation caused by the activity. I'll tell you what does the baseline situation means. To measure an impact, you must know what the baseline situation is. Okay. And the baseline situation is the existing environmental situation or condition in the absence of the activity. And the activity is a desired accomplishment or output. So what I'm trying to say is that, let's say there is an industry. Okay, it is doing some kind of harm to the environment, or let's say it is polluting the nearby river. But way before that industry started, there was a MSME, micro small mini enterprise industry, which are doing some amount of pollution in the river. And when I'm doing EIA for this industry, I should account the pollution caused by that MSME, and then I have to see already this much pollution is there, and above that pollution, this much pollution will be caused by the setting up of that industry. Why baseline is important is that, suppose if I'm not including that MSME, what will happen? I have taken a sample. I have done the chemical analysis on that, and I will attribute all the pollution to that industry. But it is not right, right? Because some pollution is already there because of that MSME. So that MSME, before setting up the industry, whatever pollution load was there, that pollution is known as baseline. And above that baseline, whatever impact, whatever quantification I am doing is known as impact. I'll give you example now. This is our CSIR NIST. Okay, this is a CV Raman block of our CSIR NIST. It is a chemical science division. Okay, it is CV Raman block in CSIR NIST where I am situated right now. This image you are seeing of 2011. You can see here there was no building at all. Okay, there was no building at all, and there were some houses. There were some houses, and nearby some agricultural fields are there, water body near NIST. But in 2018, this CV Raman block has been constructed, and artificial pond is also constructed. You can see here. Plus one 11 kVA substation is also conducted to supply electricity to the CSR NIST. Now, I would like to draw your attention to one point. Because of these houses, certain amount of disposal was already there in 2011. And when I am doing EIA for the CV Raman block, I should know that some X amount was already there, which I would call as a baseline. Okay. And only the Y will be the impact. Only the Y will be the impact, not the X plus Y. So I cannot take X plus Y as the impact due to construction of CV Raman block or the building. Why? Because X was already there. That is the importance of generating baseline data as well as to understand the impact of a project. Okay, so I hope the definition of impact effect, environment in context of EIA, and its definition plus what is impacting and what is baseline is clear to you. Okay. Uh, NCC star, you able to hear me? NCC star, you able to hear me? Mr. Ajay Prakash, you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay. So can you just briefly tell all the participants what a baseline is and what is its importance?
Sir, first of all, uh, baseline is the measuring of impact of environmental situation. As you said in the example, like 2007 and 2018. So the change direction have been made.
Mhm.
So I think this is uh, the impact that how much impact like instead of uh, that land occupied by the construction in 2018, what is the impact and what is the surroundings has been covered? I think this is the impact.
Okay, good. Mega Pradeep, you able to hear me? Okay. Mudassir Wasi Khan, you able to hear me? Mudassir Wasi Khan, you able to hear me? Okay. Escalin Shiny, You able to hear me? Screen shining. You able to hear me?
Sir, actually, uh, sorry to interrupting you. So when we are
Still.
doing the impact, so you're saying about numerical value. So here the changes have been made. How much area of
Mhm.
the building is occupied. So those numerical values have been taken note, or only that atmospherical those things.
Uh, yeah. Actually, you are just completing the answer, right? You are not asking
Yes.
anything to me. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. So those who are not responding to me, you have to respond to me. Surya Prakash, Upasna Singh, you able to hear me? Nimi and you able to hear me? Nimi,
Yes, sir.
okay. Can you tell me the relation between impact and effect?
Uh, Impact is the quantification or the numerical quantification of the effects.
Okay. Can you relate it with some real life example of your own?
Uh, is um, Suppose in the case of a river in a city, there may be so many influence from domestic and other municipal waste, and maybe there is a setting up a new industry or other infrastructure, and more effluents are or environmental hazards are there, and we can quantify them by how much area, how much so the buffer zone, how much area is affected, or how much the water, the quality of the water may be determined, and how much the quality changed due to that new project, like that.
Okay, good. So we'll go ahead, and those who are not responding to me, it will not work like that. You have to respond to me. Okay, some people I'm continuously asking from the morning. They are not able to respond to me unless you have a justified reason for that. It will be okay. Otherwise, next time if I ask something, you have to have interaction with me without fail. Okay, so we'll go ahead. Okay, so up to this point, I hope everything is clear to you all. And now we'll just see the further aspects of a EIA. Okay. Now, if you know what is the impact, what is the effect, what is the definition, now first we should understand what is the objective of EIA. Okay, this is different from what Shravant has shared with you. This is now we are going is specific. So first objective of EIA is to ensure that the environmental considerations are explicitly addressed. Okay, what does this word mean? Explicit is that because now I am quantifying. Okay, I am quantifying. So considerations are explicitly addressed and incorporated into the development and decision making process. Okay, it incorporated into the development and decision making process. Second thing, to anticipate and avoid, minimize, or offset the adverse significant biophysical, social, and other relevant effects of developmental proposals. So once you know the impact of that, you have to anticipate how it will harm, and then we have to avoid, minimize, or offset the adverse significant effect. And third one is to protect the productivity and capacity of natural system and the ecological processes which maintain their function. Now, one thing you have to understand is that what all we are doing to conserve our environment, right? Our environment gives us some kind of ecosystem services like nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle, and all other cycle, which ultimately help us to grow crops, eat food, and again mix it into the environment. If we disturb that, various things like climate change, extreme weather events occurs. As you all know, nowadays it is occurring, and because of that, our this biophysical cycles are disturbing. So our ultimate aim is to protect that natural system. Of course, we cannot take whole Earth at one shot. So what we do is that is specific to the project, we start doing it. And if we are doing a particular project with conservation of environment in mind, other things will naturally follow. So these are the objective of EIA. Now, what core values we should have in your mind while carrying out EIA? First is that it should have integrity. Means the EIA process should be fair, objective, unbiased, and balanced. Okay, there are many instances where private consultants will take some money from a particular company or an entity, and they will prepare the report in their favor. That should not happen. There are many instances like that. You can read in newspaper. Second thing, it should have utility. Means whatever EIA process you have follow should provide a balance, credible information for decision making. Okay, it should not happen that you have prepared a EIA of certain pages and you are not able to make anything out of it. Okay, and third one is of course sustainability. The EIA process should result in environmental safeguard. Okay, so these are the core values of EIA which we should meet. We should have integrity, it should have utility, and should have sustainable aspects. Now we will see what types of EIA we do. Okay, so you can remember is like RCSSR. Okay, RCSSR. First type of EIA is Rapid Environmental Impact Assessment, also known as REIA. Second one is Comprehensive Environmental Impact Assessment, CEIA. Third one is Strategic Environmental Impact Assessment, ACIA. Fourth one is Sectoral Environmental Impact Assessment. And the fifth one is Regional Environmental Impact Assessment. Okay, so one by one we will understand what does all this EIA means. Okay, so first one is the Rapid Environmental Impact Assessment, REIA. Now, as the name suggests, Rapid EIA means it will be for the one season only. So the Rapid EIA is a widely used methodology which would mainly use available data. Okay, plus some baseline environmental data collected for one season. Okay, you can see here one season, and that one season should be a non-monsoon season. Okay, we should not shower. And that one season we should not do monitoring in a monsoon season. Okay, it should be non-monsoon, because if you take values in if you take values in monsoon season, that values will not be representative. Okay, let's say you are taking just 1 minute, sir. Okay, suppose you have taken some ambient air quality, or suppose you have taken some water quality. That time that particulate matter will settle down, so you will not be able to get any representative value of PM10, PM2.5, as well as water will be in diluted form because of the rainfall. There also you will get all the values within permissible limit. That's why in rapid EIA, one of the important aspect is it is a one season study in non-monsoon season. Okay. Second one is comprehensive EIA, CEIA. Now, as the name indicates, it is a comprehensive EIA. Okay, it is a comprehensive, and what it will include. Comprehensive EIA would be required if the assessment area, period, and parameter are insufficient for a well-defined decision. Okay, on the establishment of project. You feels that as a scientist or as a EIA person, you feels that if I do only one season, uh, that is rapid EIA, it will not be sufficient for me to make a decision out of it. So in that case, I will go for a comprehensive EIA. Okay. And one more reason to it is that meteorological condition like mean air temperature, wind speed, and wind direction for different seasons also play an important role in ascertaining the impact of pollutant, especially when the project discharges huge quantities of air pollutant into the atmosphere. So in those kind of cases, a comprehensive EIA would be essential for large project or for projects with high pollution level. Okay, for a smaller project, we do rapid EIA. For bigger project or for a project in which one season monitoring data is not sufficient, in those kind of cases we go for CEIA, that is comprehensive EIA. So I hope rapid EIA and comprehensive EIA is clear to you. Now sectoral EIA is as briefed by Shravan, there are 38 sectors. Okay, there are 38 sectors for which we need to do EIA. So in those kind of cases, sometimes we do sectoral EIA. Okay, so sectoral EIAs are used for the design of sector investment program. They are particularly suitable for reviewing sector investment alternative, the effect of sector policy changes. Okay, then institutional capacity and requirement for environmental review implementation and monitoring at the sectoral level, and the cumulative impacts of mainly relatively small similar investment. Now I'll tell you an example. You would have seen that there are many hydropower projects that can only be executed near a river or near a region. Okay, and this is a particular sector. So you have to do EIA to particular to that sector only. Okay, any other industry we are not proposing to set up. So I have to focus on that particular sector, that it is a hydropower project, and what all associated points are there related to that, I have to include in my EIA report. Okay. Also, sectoral EIA should also have the objective of strengthening the environmental management capability of the several other relevant agencies. Okay, and many times sectoral EIA may overlap with the regional EIA because we will be doing it for a region, right? We'll be doing it for a region. So sometimes both go parallel hand in hand. Third one is strategic EIA. Now, as the name indicates, strategic means something which is long term. Let's say 10, 20 or 25 years. Okay. Relating to the identification of long-term or overall aims and interests, like what all facilities you are seeing today for the ISRO, like VSSC, then Tumba region, where they do this jet propulsion. They were started like 30, 35 years before, with the view that in this area, within 10 kilometers, there won't be much development. Right? That was strategic EIA. So strategic environmental impact assessment is used to refer to AI process applied to policies, plans, or programs. Like ISRO is a program on Earth exploration, right, Earth exploration and space exploration. So those kind of cases we do strategic EIA, and the use of ACA enables decision makers to overcome limitations of project level decision making, which may underestimate cumulative and synergistic impacts of multiple ongoing or planned projects. Sometimes, if you are limiting yourself to a smaller project, it may not lead you to give the long term implications. Okay, in those cases, we use strategic EIA. So I hope strategic EIA, sectoral EIA, comprehensive, rapid EIA is crystal clear to you. Now we will see what all types of uh, what all types of procedures and methods are available with us to carry out EIA. Okay, after this, we will have a question answer session. Okay, so we'll start with the methodologies of EIA. So one thing you need to understand that any EIA will have three process inbuilt which you have to fulfill whatever methodology you follow. Okay, so first there will be impact identification. Okay, once you have identified the impact, you have to make the prediction out of it. Then there will be impact prediction, and then for that impact, you have to frame mitigation measures and management plan. So impact identification, impact prediction, and mitigation measures and management plan. This is the core purpose of EIA. These three things will always be there. This I brought to you with my experience. This you may not get in a book. There will be lot of text and all, but when you chalk it down to your experience and when you have done some 10, 15 EIAs, you will come to know that EIA always consists of these three parts. So I hope the core purpose of EIA is clear to you. Now, one by one, we will see the procedures which are available with us to carry out an EIA. Okay, so first one is ad hoc. Okay, ad hoc EIA. As the name indicates, ad hoc means something of short duration. Okay, something of short duration. So this methodologies provide minimal guidance to impact assessment beyond suggesting broad areas of possible impacts, like impacts on flora and fauna, impact on lake, forest, etc., rather than defining specific parameters. This method is subjective and a time constant in EIA must rely on expert opinion. There is some time constant. If more scientific methods are available, ad hoc method is not recommended. But many times while doing pre-feasibility report, okay, if you are preparing a pre-feasibility report of a developmental activity, you will employ ad hoc method. You will discuss with experts, and based on their opinion, you will prepare a pre-feasibility report. So the first method for carrying out EIA is ad hoc. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. Second one is a checklist. So as the name indicates, there will be some checklist. Okay, like I have given you one example here. Question to be considered in scoping: permanent or temporary change in land use, land cover or topography, clearance of existing land, vegetation and buildings, creation of new land uses, pre-construction investigation, boreholes, etc. So first I'll read it and then you understand. Checklist. These methodologies present a specific list of environmental parameters to be investigated for possible impacts, but do not require the establishment of direct cause effect links to project activities. Okay, we may be knowing that this impact is occurring, but why? That we may not be able to understand when you are preparing a checklist kind of EIA. They may or may not have guidelines on how parameter data are to be measured and interpreted. Okay, they may not have guidelines for it. So now, when you are applying for an EIA, you have to fill the form 1. Okay, you have to fill the form 1 to Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. That form 1 is basically a checklist. Now I'll read it and you just see. 1.1. Permanent or temporary change in land use, land cover or topography, including increases in intensity of land use. Whether yes or no. If it is a yes, then which characteristics of the project environment could be affected and how? Then you have to brief what all characteristics are there by which the effect can be met. And is the effect likely to be significant and why? Suppose if it is significant, means if it is a very high impact activity, then why? Okay, so this is a checklist. For each point, you have to provide the checklist. If there are some construction work, if there are some demolition works like that, you have to go. So this is the second method. Third method is in which we will be identifying the cause effect relationship between two parameter. Like here you can see matrices. These methodologies incorporate a list of project or activities in addition to a checklist of potentially impacted environmental characteristics. These two lists are related in a matrix which identifies cause-effect relationship between specific activities. Okay. Okay. So matrix methodologies may specify the actions and the corresponding impact on environmental characteristics, or may simply list the range of possible actions and characteristics in an open matrix to be completed by the analyst. I'll give you one example now. Here you can see it is a particular part of our EIA report. Here you can see on the vertical column land use, river water resources, groundwater resources, odor problem, air quality, solid waste, noise, animal life, marine ecology, national park forest, human settlement. Now these are the process. Okay, these are the process which will be carrying out in the EIA. Just an example only, like DWP commissioning. DWP means dredge bed upgradation plant. Then water requirement, effluent discharge, gaseous emission, fugitive emissions, solid waste disposal, raw material storage. Now we have to write whether there will be impact or not. So on land use, there will be temporary impact. T denotes temporary impact. P denotes permanent impact. Air quality temporary, solid waste permanent because it will be settled here for always. Then noise also temporary. Marine ecology also temporary. Human settlement also temporary. Okay. Now, second one is air quality. As long as the industry is there, there will always be emission. So it is a permanent impact. Right. Like that, I have to form a matrix and I have to see what all impacts will be there. So I hope first method ad hoc, second method checklist in which cause and effect were not read. Third method matrices in which cause and effect relationships are read, are clear to you. Now fourth one is it is related to remote sensing GIS, for which the course is it is overlays. So overlays, what we will do is that These methodologies rely on a set of maps of environmental characteristics in the area, like physical, social, economic, aesthetic, etc. for a project area. And these maps are overlaid to produce a composite characterization of the regional environment. Okay, now we'll see just one by one. This is the topographic base, first layer. Then there will be parcels of residence. Then there will be zone. Then there will be floodplains from which water will flow. Then there will be wetlands. Okay, then there will be some kind of land use land cover. Then there will be soil. Okay, and then there will be survey. So I have made a composite map out of it. And then I will just put my industrial activity at one point. Let's say I'm putting here. So I will come to know what all things will be get impacted. Okay, in overlaying, I'll just overlay my proposed activity and I'll see how this activity will impact the environment. The simplest example I have given you while I was explaining you the baseline. Okay, now you can see here, this I overlay only now. This part was not there. And I overlaid my particular activity and I am seeing how much vegetation would have been cleared because of this. Right, so this is a overlay method. But this is the simple example. This is a simple example. In real life, it will be complex, which you will be seeing in the subsequent days. Okay. Okay. So the last one is cause, condition, effect network. By now, what I showed you is cause and effect. All right. Cause and effect. But now we will see the cause, condition, effect network. And this method was employed to recognize a series of impacts that may be triggered by a project action. These approaches generally define a set of possible networks and allow the user to identify impacts by selecting and tracing out the appropriate project actions. Okay, this you have to keep in mind. Now I'll give you one example. Suppose I am doing dredging in a particular part of a river body. So what all things will happen? There will be sediment loss. Okay, then navigation. It can also be categorized under mining. Then eel grass that is provide ecosystem services to oceans. Then water quality and beach maintenance. Now, if I'm doing dredging, first there will be removal of bottom material and production of some new material. These two output can only come. I've removed something from the bottom and I'm producing some new material out of it. Then this removal of bottom material will lead to removal of shellfish beds and removal of silt and sludge. And it will also lead to change in the topography of the bottom area of the bed. And production of material will lead to spoil waste, solid waste disposal, as well as commercial sand and gravel. Like that, I have to form a chain, full chain, that if one activity will lead to how many types of impact. Okay. So this anyway, I'll be sharing with you today itself. You have to go through it. Now, what does this five method means? So you have to keep in mind there is no single best EIA methodology, but practically a combination of available methods which will lead to a proper EIA. As I said earlier, in pre-feasibility report, you have to define ad hoc. When you are going deeper, you may have to go for matrices, networks, overlays, and checklist. The checklist you will need when you are putting for form 1, overlays you will need when you are preparing EIA. When you have to go further deep, you may need require networks and matrices. So you have to keep in mind that there is no single based EIA method, but a combination of all. Okay, so I hope up to this point it is clear to you. Okay, so now Miss Anusha Vasist, you able to hear me? Anusha Vasist, you able to hear me? Crystal C, you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First, you tell me whether I pronounce your name correctly or not, and if not, what is your pronunciation?
It's correct, sir. It's crystal.
Correct. Okay. So now, can you just name what all 5 methodologies are available to carry out an EIA?
Ad hoc, checklist, matrices, overlays, and networks.
Okay. And which of this procedure employs cause-effect relationships?
Checklist and matrices.
Okay, good. Surya Prakash, you able to hear me?
Yes, yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay, great, great. So, Surya Prakash, can you just brief me what all I have shared with you by now in this second session? Just briefly, in 1 or 2 minutes.
Sir, first you told about the difference between the impact and the effect, and then the context of the impact in EIA. Then we have the objective of the EIA, and then the types of EIA, and then methodologies, and the types of the 5 methodology.
Okay, okay, good. Siddesh Kajrolkar, you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so can you give the brief details of matrices method? What we do in matrices while carrying out EIA?
So I didn't get that part actually.
Okay, no issue.
Any
So,
other, if you want, I can explain
no,
any other
it's
method.
okay. What all you understand, you can brief me. Whatever you understand in the second session.
Okay, so we first saw the types of EI, that is rapid, then there's comprehensive, then strategic, sectorial, and regional. Then you explained the methodology that is being carried out. The first is the impact identification. Then we'll do the impact prediction, and finally there's some mitigation measures that we'll check. And then the last we saw the methods of EIA. So there are 5 methods: ad hoc, checklist, matrices, overlays, and networks.
Okay, good, good, good. Okay, then we will proceed with the talk. 20 minutes more will go. We'll stop at 1 o'clock. Okay. 1 second. Okay, so we will go ahead. Now we will see the types of environmental impact. Okay, by now you would have understand that in an EIA, when I'm saying environmental impact assessment, the word impact is a very significant one. All the process of EIA revolve around the impact. Like uh, a proper quantification impact is of prime importance in environmental impact assessment. Okay, so the first thing is that we will understand one by one what are types of environmental impacts we encounter. So first one is beneficial or detrimental. It may be beneficial or detrimental. I'll give you an example. I belong to Indore, Madhya Pradesh, and some 200 kilometers from my hometown, there is a very big thermal power plant. It is called it Sri Singaji Thermal Power Plant. It is built near Narmada River. So so that particular area was completely, completely barren. In last 10 to 20 years, there was nothing. But when this plant was planned there, of course, there was an environmental impact, but because of this plant, that area is developed like anything. Now people have houses, they have some kind of shops, small eateries, okay, small grocery stores and all. Because of this influx of people of this plant, they have grown economically as well as socially. But of course, because of the thermal power plant, there will be air pollution and all. So that pollution related to that is detrimental impact, and socio-economic benefit because of that is beneficial impact. So I hope first type of impact is clear to you. Second one is naturally reversible or irreversible. Okay, naturally reversible or irreversible. Suppose some effluent has been discharged into the river body because of the treatment plant or any developmental activity. Over the time, after first or second rainfall, the water will again become clear. It is reversible impact. But suppose during the construction of that plant, some soil or some geology was permanently distorted from there, which cannot grow by itself. Of course, geology and soil will not grow by itself. So that is an irreversible impact. Now I cannot retrieve it. Okay, so that is a second type of impact, naturally reversible or irreversible. By itself, it won't get cured. Third one is repairable via management practices or irreparable. Okay, sometimes let's say some air pollution is there, so I can employ some electrostatic precipitators near the chimney, and I can arrest PM10 and PM2.5 from that particular chimney. So I can manage it. Okay, I can repair that environment, repairable via management practices. But suppose if the quantum of that air pollution in that is so high that I am not at all able to manage it, then it will become irreparable. The finest example of this in urban area is the vehicular traffic. You would have seen that because of these cars, trucks, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, and all other thing, the PM10 and PM2.5 in urban area is so high that we are not able to manage it. Okay, so that is irreparable. Fourth one is short term or long term. Okay, so suppose you are putting a developmental activity. So during that time, you are employing some tippers and trucks that will be employed during the construction only. So whatever air pollution or whatever fugitive dust dispersion is there during the construction only, it is a short term impact, right? But in that particular industry or something, you are running a furnace, let's say blast furnace or any production unit, which is continuously discharging air pollutant as well as water pollutant in the atmosphere. So that will be a long-term impact. So as long as the industry is there, this impact will also be there. So those kind of impact is called long term. The second one is temporary or continuous. So basically temporary you can relate to short term, or continuous you can relate to long term. Okay, temporary you can relate to short term, or continuous you can relate to long term. But because of the nature of the pollutant, sometimes we may say it is a temporary, or sometimes we can call it as a short term, or on the other hand, long term or continuous. Now, there may be something which is occurring only during the construction phase or operational phase. Okay, so just now I given you an example. Now we will take an example of a ports and harbor. In ports and harbor, when you are constructing a RO jetty or a particular breakwater, there will be temporary impact on the marine fauna of that area, of that region, like phytoplankton, zooplankton, neobenthos, macrobenthos, and all other thing. Okay, that is during construction only. But when it is start operating, construction has been done, and because of the nutrient recirculation in the ocean, that will again regain its original ecology in 3 to 6 months. Now there will be only pollution related to operation phase, as and when ships are arriving and there is loading and unloading of containers. The next type of impact is local, regional, national, or global. Now suppose there is an area which is 1 hectare. So whatever impacts are associated with this, I can call it a local. But suppose this area is big, let's say 100 hectare. Okay, 100 hectare. And this 100 hectare is causing pollution to up to 20-kilometer range of air. Then it will become regional. Okay, now suppose this area is far much big. Okay, this area is far much big, and the impact can be seen on the other state. Like the clear-cut example, I'll give you this of stubble burning in Haryana. You all know that there is a very big conflict between Haryana and Delhi during as whenever they burn the stubble from their crops. Delhi, there will be foggy and so much of PM10 and PM2.1 will be observed in the air. So that is a national. And of course, these small industries, okay, there are lakhs of industries in the world. When they are creating pollution, it will lead to global impact. And the nearest example is climate change and global warming. Right? Earlier, we do not used to experience this much heat or this much extreme weather event, but now we are experiencing. right? So there is a global. Second one is accidental or planned. Recognized beforehand. Sometimes there will be accidental impact. Like I'll give you a simple example of Bhopal gas tragedy, right? Bhopal gas tragedy. That was an accidental impact. Methyl isocyanate gas was discharged into the atmosphere accidentally. And sometimes it will be planned also. Like we know when we do uh, certain kind of process like blast furnace, slag or welding, we know that certain gases will emerge. So we know that it is planned and we will make mitigation measures before end of it. Okay, so that is a kind of impact. Now, all this impact can be categorized in three type of impact: direct or primary impact, indirect or secondary impact, or cumulative or single impact. Okay, you have to keep this in mind. This is very important. All these impact can be categorized as direct or primary, indirect or secondary, and cumulative or single. Okay, now I will explain you what is a direct impact and what is an indirect impact and what is a cumulative impact in light of all this impact, what I have shown you here. Okay. Now, first we will understand direct impact. So, direct impact is what? Direct impacts occur through direct interaction of an activity with an environmental, social, or economic component. Okay, direct impact means it will be directly felt. The example is a discharge of thermal power plant or effluent from the effluent treatment plant ETP into a river may lead to decline in water quality in terms of high biochemical oxygen demand or dissolved oxygen. You can see here it is discharged, and here itself I am seeing polluted water. Here it is discharged, and here itself I am seeing the pollution in the air. So it is a direct impact. It is no in between mediator environment in that. Okay, it is a direct impact. Second one is indirect impact. How it will come? Like indirect impacts on the environment are those which are not a direct result of the project. Okay, and often produced away from or as a result of a complex impact pathway, like ambient air SO2 rise, sulfur dioxide rise due to stake emission may deposit on land as sulfate and cause acidic soil. This is the picture I have shown you in last slide. Deposition of this sulfur dioxide as sulfate from stake emission on soil. Now the soil has become acidic. So this air has directly not come to the soil. Okay, first it has gone to atmosphere. Then there is some photonic reaction of sulfur dioxide. It has converted to sulfate and then deposited on the soil. So this impact is known as indirect impact. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. Last one is cumulative impact. Cumulative impact is a result of combination of the several projects. Like here I am giving you an example. These are the different mine lists. This is mine list 1. This is mine list 2. This is mine list 3. Okay. This is mine list 4 and all. So if all are mining simultaneously, there will be cumulative impact. And in that cumulative impact also some will be primary, some will be secondary. In that also some will be permanent, some will be temporary, some will be repairable, some will be irreparable, some will be short term, some will be long term. So I hope you are able to connect how this impact goes. So cumulative impact consists of an impact that is created as a result of the combination of the project evaluated in the EIA together with other projects in the same vicinity causing related impact. These impacts occur when the incremental impact of the project is combined with the cumulative effects of other past, present, and reasonably foreseeable future. Okay, I hope you got my point. All these mine leases, when it is operating in tandem, in simultaneously, then what all impacts are there, that will be called as cumulative impacts. Okay. Rahul Chilavar, are you there? You able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
You able to hear me now? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can you speak a little bit louder?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Rahul, I want you to list out 3 types of impact from the list I have shown in my previous slide. Can you list 3 type of impact?
Beneficial or detrimental,
Hmm?
naturally reversible or irreversible, short
Mhm.
term and long term.
Okay, good. Parvati and Iyer, able to hear me? Parvati and Iyer, you able to hear me? Okay. Pratna, Pratna, you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Pratna, other than the impact, what is being briefed by Rahul, you just brief some other impacts from the slide which I have shown.
Sir, one of them was beneficial or detrimental.
Okay, that already. Anyway, you just go ahead. What all maximum impacts you just brief us to me
Okay,
or to
sir.
the participants.
Other one was naturally reversible or irreversible.
Hmm.
Then short term and long term.
Okay, then
Uh, Occurring and operational.
okay.
Um, Next one was accidental and planned.
Hmm.
In
Good.
that, we have taken example of in accidental Bhopal
Hmm.
gas tragedy.
Hmm. Yes.
Then local, regional, and global.
Good.
And
Okay. Good. Good.
these.
That's okay. That's all. Good. Good, Pratna. Then Upasna Singh, you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. So can you tell me the difference between primary impacts and secondary impact?
As a primary, the impact of EI, it direct impact on any,
Hmm.
but indirectly, it is a secondary impact, something which is uh, mixing. We can say this is a mixing of other impact of uh, event to
Okay.
environment.
Okay. Can you give some example?
As for direct, as uh, uh, biological oxygen, or for indirect mixing air mixing of SO2, indirect impact.
Okay. Good. Ripu Daman Srivastav, you able to hear me? Ripu Daman Srivastav. NCC Stoy. Anusha Vasist, you able to hear me? Tanzil Muzaffar. Ravindra Kumar, are you there? Okay, so if you have any doubt, you can ask me for the next 2-3 minutes, and then 1 o'clock we will stop for the lunch, and then we'll meet at around 2 o'clock. Then remaining 2 session will be there for the second half. Is there any doubt to any one of you? Okay, then we'll break for the lunch.
Yes, sir.
Ah.
Sir, I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Sir, you have said direct impact can be called as primary, indirect can be secondary, and the third one, cumulative impact, is considered as single. Why is it called single? As it involves combination of different projects.
Yes,
More
yes.
than one is there.
Yes, correct. It is two aspect. When you read it, you would have seen that it is written as considered single, right? Considered single means when I'm preparing a EIA report, I may be knowing that okay, it may be primary, secondary, but when I'm preparing a EIA report, I have to cumulate all and come up as a single impact. Okay, you got my point.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So I will give you one more example. Suppose you are making a decision. Suppose Pratna, you itself are making a decision based on the EIA report. And in EIA report, it is mentioned different. Project 1 this, project 2 this, project 3 this much, project 4 this much. So you will not be able to make a decision out of it. But if it is a single impact of all the cumulative project, then you will be able to make a call whether to allow them or not. That's why it is considered as a single value. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Good.
Thank you.
I'll be really happy if you all ask me some or the other kind of doubt. That's how you will learn and we'll also be very happy. Any other doubt? Okay then. We'll stop for lunch. We will meet at sharp 2 o'clock. 2 more sessions are remaining. So on time we will close today's schedule. That is 3:30 between 3:30 to 4. Okay then. See you after lunch.